He came to school on his first day to report. I was spat up with thick phlegm by a white classmate, but he didn't pay attention. After arriving at the dormitory, I was collectively ostracized by my roommates again. They don't want to share a room with a nigger, choose to pack things one after another. Replaced dormitory. Only little Jabba stayed behind, sleeping until midnight. He was suddenly awakened by the instructor using cold water. I didn't expect that, well known as morning exercise. It was the coach torture. Then he pressed his head into the water again and again, continuously humiliating. But the next day, when, here, a bit of water, coming soon, faced with naked discrimination and threats, Carl didn't flinch at all, because I can graduate from this school, becoming a Navy diver. It's his lifelong dream and the only chance to change his destiny. On the second day of training, the instructor pointed the finger at the stuttering student. A few dozen pounds of equipment suddenly hit him in the stomach. I haven't waited for him to stand firm yet, just being pushed into the water by the instructor. Let him hold his breath underwater for 4 minutes with a heavy load. But it's less than 2 minutes. Little Jebba just surfaced. Therefore, little Jebba was expelled by the instructor. Carl knows that this is aimed at himself in future training. He was even more careful, not daring to make any mistakes. Every weekend during vacation, everyone out happy. But Carl didn't dare to slack off for a moment, staying in the library day and night. He knows that in such an environment, only by constantly striving, only then can we win respect. A few days later, 2 classmates are performing welding tasks underwater. Unexpectedly, the ship suddenly tilted and slid down. The sudden accident caused the classmates' air pipe to be stuck tightly. The instructor asked another person to come forward and rescue. Unexpectedly, the hull slid down again. The situation is extremely critical. I heard my classmates shouting in fear. Carl volunteered, require collaborative rescue underwater. But when he found the 2 with the new air pipes, the continuous decline of the ship's hull unexpectedly let another classmate run away. Fortunately, Carl remained calm and posed. When trapped classmates are about to suffocate, when he connects the air pipe, successfully saved the life of a teammate. Although the instructor looked at the deserter, extremely disappointed, but then I hung the Medal of Honor on him. It also makes Carl understand, black people cannot receive any honor from his school, only the rescued comrades threw a thank you glance at him. Perhaps the word fairness will never fall on him. Before leaving, father's name, always inspiring him to forge ahead, don't give up. But I didn't expect that after a while, Carl received the sad news of his father's death. He who has always been strong, can no longer hold his tension at this moment, crying bitterly. So for the first time, he thought of coming to the bar to have a drink. After his comrades saw him come in, everyone was filled with resentment. The boss is also unwilling to sell him the wine. The instructor is even more outspoken. Black people don't deserve to come to such places, and intentionally angered Carl, make him accept the challenge of holding his breath. If you lose, get out of school. If you win, agree to his request. Let the little stutter return to school. Carl, who had been suppressed for a long time, accepted the challenge without hesitation. This is his chance to prove himself. It's also his struggle against fate, as the water level has not passed. Knows, the competition has officially started. Both sides were relatively relaxed in the first 2 minutes. To the 3rd minute, the instructor's eyes are already choking with blood. 4 minutes later, the students are starting to worry, but this is about gambling with dignity. None of them would admit defeat. As we approach 5 minutes, the instructor's nose is starting to bleed. Students see this, hurry up and help him unlock his diving helmet. Although Carl won the game, but he still hasn't earned respect. A few days later, he returned to the dormitory, but suddenly realized that there is a note hanging on the bedside that drowned a nigger. The instructor personally came forward this time, warned him not to attend the next day's assessment. Even if he goes to school, I won't let him pass either. Carl didn't compromise. Angry and resentful towards the instructor, he is a narrow-minded and hateful little person. The instructor smashed his radio in a fit of anger. This is the only gift left to him by his father. Carl held back his tears. Exert great restraint. The instructor curiously picked up a photo of his father. Inquiry. I need bait. Changes have been made to lose a lawsuit. But in the assessment the next day, Carl still came to the scene. He didn't give up the word in his dictionary. Although the exam rules are very simple, just assemble this infrastructure correctly underwater, even if you pass the exam. Although there is no time limit, once the assembly goes wrong, all efforts will come to naught. Everyone else's parts packages are being placed normally. When it's Carl's turn, the commander signaled to them to cut Carl's parts package into pieces with a knife. All the small parts are scattered on the seabed. Carl looked dumbfounded when he saw it, but he still refuses to give up, but gradually groping for parts. After a few hours, all students have completed the exam, and Carl is still searching for parts at the bottom of the sea, until sunset. He didn't come ashore either. At this point he has been underwater for a full 9 hours, shivering all over with cold. Difficult assembly. Even the instructor couldn't bear it. Call the commander for instructions. Pull him, sure, but was rejected by the commander. He had no choice but to use Carl's life to warn those black instructors, who wanted to turn over. Advise Carl to give up if he wants to survive, but Carl would rather die at the bottom of the sea. Also need to complete the exam. This unwavering determination, make everyone present stand in awe. The instructor finally couldn't bear it anymore, ignoring the commander's roar and threat. Take the initiative to order Carl ashore. The comrades on the side also came forward to help. When everyone pulls the rope up, the infrastructure was actually assembled. At this moment, everyone was stunned and speechless. Next, Carl crawled out of the water trembling, faced with such oppression and discrimination, and his response was a firm gaze and an unyielding will. And that's it. Carl successfully graduated from naval school. Little stuttered and successfully returned to school, and the instructor was devalued by the commander for helping Carl, teaching at a third-rate school. Years later, Carl has become a diving expert, but fate once again played a big joke on him.